everybody, and welcome to another edition of, I was going to say perimenopause. Menopause Made Easy with Tanya. It's all a journey after the age of 40, everybody. Wow. Um, yes, it's a topsy-turvy, interesting. Oh, it's been a very fun ride. Anyway, with some little bad dips. I have today Dr. Julie Merriman, and oh my gosh, are we going to have I think, a really eye-opening um, shame busting conversation. So Julie, Dr. Julie, I should say, welcome to the podcast. And you know yourself better than I do. So let the listeners in on who you are and what you do.
Well, absolutely. And it's just Julie first and foremost. But I'm an author and a podcaster. I've been a clinician for about 30 years, enjoying my 60s. It's the yummiest place I've ever been. And yeah, I'm a professor. I teach people to be counselors. Actually, I run a department at a university doing that. So I live out in Texas on a cattle ranch, and I do some equine therapy out in the pasture with my horse. Life is fun, having a good time. I'm also
Good.
a boombie. I'm a boombie. My grandkids call me boombie. So
Okay. You know what? I would say I'm 56 now, and every year I feel more myself. Like the 30s and 40s were dedicated to children, and it was exhausting. It was the best thing I've ever done. I loved being a parent, but wow. And then especially in my 40s, going through perimenopause, which nobody was talking about. So I just thought I was crazy, like anxiety, crying,
oh yeah.
just like so many things I could not, I didn't have the hot flashes. So honestly, everybody, it's really hard to go back in time sometime unless you've lived it, right? So when I was going through perimenopause, there was nothing that I
Yeah.
could find. And then
No.
when I was 48, so I'd probably say in the last 8 years, things have started to change. And then now it's insane. So you think in this period of time, it's always been like this. We have so much information now, and it's really helping people because I say when you're educated, you're empowered. But I'll tell you, it was so you're a little older than I am. So, I'm sure you knew some of it, but I don't know. How was your 40s?
Yeah, girl, my 40s was my wake up call. I thought I was losing my mind. The first book I wrote in Pursuit of Soul Joy is my journey
Okay.
into my bizarre life and back. And it really started my research because I researched burnout and compassion fatigue. That's what got me interested in the polyvagal system and all the stuff I do now. But in my 40s, and I can remember it like yesterday, I walked off a stage. I mean, to the outside world, it looked like success, right? I was professor and dean and blah, 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 all this stuff. And I walked off a stage, standing ovation. I was numb. I
Mm,
didn't know who I was. I did not feel like I was connected to that woman that had just done all that. And it really was a point where I thought, Julie, something ain't right. Is this all there is? That question kept coming up a lot
yeah.
too. Like I busted, can I cuss? I don't know if I can cuss,
Yep.
but I busted my butt for years. This little treadmill where we're taught your value is tied to your performance, girl. You get out there and you better make
Yeah.
yourself worthwhile. I had done all those things. I had all the degrees, blah, blah, blah. So my 40s was a very big wake up call for me.
Hmm.
And that's when, yeah, perimenopause hit, and people would just tell you, well, you're just getting old, or, suck it up, do better self care. Gaslighting. We were gaslit so much and blamed for the situation. So, yeah, the 40s were a little bit trying, but I will say it led to my homecoming.
Mm,
And I really feel I'm 63 now, and I really feel like I live in my body. I
mm.
fully inhabit my life. Um, and I think the 50s are fun because our give a crap kind of dies.
Yes,
And
it does.
yeah, but, and we're able to really show up without all these, I don't know if it's societal expectations or individual expect, whatever it might be, able to show up just as ourselves and not
Yeah.
apologize.
And then you know what? Who are we? Because I talk to a lot of women in this age group and they are like, I don't even know who I am. I'm so numb. I'm so stuck. I'm so paralyzed.
Yeah.
And to your point, it's like, who am I? And this is the question I've been asking myself for a long time. Who is Tanya? Who
Right.
authentically, what is my soul's desire? And
Right.
really listening to the programming and undoing so much programming.
Yeah.
And then, like you just said, is it societal programming? Is it individual? Because in your 40s, right, you're this, or, even leading up to whatever age, it's the busy badge, it's the productive. You're only good if you're producing. And then if you're not producing, you're like, well, what's the matter with me? I should be doing more, doing, burnout, burnout, keep going, keep grinding, keep doing it. And you just
Right.
like, and then you just, oh. So,
Yeah. Well, absolutely. I call that identity excavation. We have to go in and actually excavate the woman that we really are. And that life force is lost. I mean, what you're talking about where we're so numb and of course our by the time we hit our 40s and 50s, our nervous system is flipping fried because we have lived in survival mode for so long that sympathetic and dorsal vagal state where we're living on cocktails of adrenaline and
mhm.
cortisol, and we're wondering why don't I feel desire anymore? Where'd pleasure go? Pleasure's the first thing to go offline. Our brain is very selfish with energy, and when we have told our body, our nervous system, we're in survival mode because we have all this stuff we have to do, and we're going. And I hope I don't forget to pick the kids up at football practice, on top of everything else. And and our brain says, well, okay, this chick is busy. She just wants adrenaline and cortisol. I'm taking pleasure offline. And so that frontal cortex, the insular part, is not even available to us. So we're told, go self-care, go do you some meditation. When we are in survival mode, our frontal cortex is not available to allow meditation to really do the yummy stuff meditation can do. And then we're thinking, what am I doing wrong? I mean, it's this cycle of resentment, blame, and shame that
Yeah.
just keeps going. That's really why I got into, I mean, I'm also a yoga instructor. In fact, I've got goats out here that we do yoga
Nice.
with some. But um, that really led me to understanding chakra psychology and how tied that is to somatic psychology. Our vagus nerve runs straight through the chakra centers. And if we understand, and it gives me a visual to help the ladies I work with because it's so abstract. All this stuff is so abstract. If we can think about, okay, my heart chakra, that's green. Oh, I'm feeling heavy right there. Is that resentment? I mean, it gives us a place to understand what things are the energies that are happening in our body.
Yeah.
But the very first thing that happens when we are in the survival mode all the time, the very first thing that goes is feeling safe in our body.
Hmm.
It's not a safe place to live. We're,
Hmm.
we're giving ourselves, I mean, that self-talk, come on now. What we say to ourselves, we would not say to another person. And that self-talk really guides how we live in our bodies.
So let me ask you a question because I've been, this safety thing has come up for the last 3 years, and I'm like, oh my God, we're safe. I mean, there's not a tiger chasing me. And I really did not fully integrate it into my system to understand. And now I understand it as cellular safety because I always tell everybody, you're just cells. You're just cells. So
That's
when
right.
I ask you if you're stressed, I don't even want you to answer my question because I already know you are, but you don't think you are because we've elevated things so much that you're just surviving. So you just think, I'm not stressed. And I'm like, okay, maybe you're not stressed, but your cells are stressed,
Very good.
right?
Absolutely.
And when your
Yeah.
cells are stressed, you don't feel safe, even though you have a roof over your head, loving relationship, or, your cells do not feel, they're not resonating with safety. And
That,
so,
yeah.
right? And so, in this particular point, what, let's just say, I would say, and you can agree or disagree with me, but most women are not cellular safe.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I call it, that's why I say we can't think our way out of this. It's in our
No.
tissues. It's in our fascia.
I
We
call,
have
yeah.
to.
I call it issues in our tissues. I've been saying
Yeah,
that for 20 years. Issues in our tissues and
me
cellular
too.
memory.
Yes, Vanderkolk had it right with, and
Yeah,
all our somatic guys and guys that are and
yeah.
ladies. But absolutely, you cannot, and that's what we try to do. We're floating heads of competence. We have learned to manage life from our head, and we're very intelligent, very wise, and we think we can think our way out of this. But girl, you cannot because it is in your tissues. It's in your body. And so many women I work with, I mean, the very first thing I guide them to is where are you feeling that? And they will look at me like I have three eyes and they're irritated, like, ask me that stupid crap. I don't know where I'm feeling it. I'm just feeling it. But we've got to get in the body. You've got to know where you're feeling what. I think resentment is sacred. I think that it's a sacred feeling that we get. And we have been taught to shame ourselves for that and tell ourselves, oh, we shouldn't feel that. That's not something. There's no right or wrong feeling ever. Whatever comes up is what comes up, and we need to hold space and presence with it. But I have found, because see what happens for us for so many years, we swallow our truth, think that's throat chakra into our heart chakra to keep the peace. It's like, oh, it's just not, we're so exhausted anyway. We're like, oh, hell, that's just not even worth going there. I'm just going to swallow that truth. And after years, of course, we have resentment. Of course, there's resentment building in our body because we've given and given and given until we have become the empty cup. And it's a myth to say we can't pour from one. We do it all the time.
Mm,
And that resentment that if we will finally get in touch with it, it's very sacred. It's going to tell you things that you need. It's
mm.
going to help you excavate that beautiful soul.
So, what would be some resentment that you have?
Resentment that, well, resentment really comes from our needs not getting met.
Mm,
And the only person, and this is, I say this with love, hell, I say it to myself all the time, the only one in this world that can meet my needs is me,
exactly.
the beautiful soul in the mirror. And we have to talk to her and let her know. But see, we'll get resentful. Well, he didn't, surely he knows I need that, or that. I'm
Yeah.
I'm tired of being the one doing this. If I don't do it, it doesn't get done. I mean, all kinds of things start swirling for us
Hmm.
that tie back to that resentment. But the really bottom layer there is getting our needs met and giving that a voice. And think, ladies, how long have we not given it a voice?
Mm,
And it goes back to that safety. I mean, if that root chakra is not balanced and that's where safety lives in our body, and that ties right to your sacral chakra, think what those two do. And safety, you're absolutely, yes, I have a roof over my head. Yes, um, there's not a tiger chasing me in this moment, but girl, our nervous system, when it is in the sympathetic state, which is fight or flight, it does not know that that saber-toothed tiger isn't chasing us.
I know.
The the hormones that dump and the response is very much what our ancestors used to stay alive. So obviously we have some good, we're good at it. We survived, but
Yeah.
um,
Hmm.
those same hormones dump, and then I mean, we don't like if a zebra is being chased, it needs, that by a lion, that's a real thing. And then it has a chance to reset. Animals are very good at this. We don't allow ourselves to stop that stress cycle and
Yeah.
reset. So we have cumulative stress going on in our body. That, as you said, it's in our cells, it's in our tissues. And one thing I'd start teaching my ladies to do is the shaking. Because if
Big.
you watch animals, they do that. They'll
Yeah.
kind of, and we're built to do that too. But have we
We
been
just we've been
socialized?
on we've you know what we have we all missed the class on basic survival. We
Yes, we
really
did.
we
They
really
took,
did
they
because
gave us algebra.
yeah, you know what? Like when you are angry and you're mad, what are you told? Don't yell. Okay?
Right,
But
right.
yelling is a great release. You cry, what are you told? Don't cry. Suck
I'll
it up.
give you something to cry about.
Yeah,
That's
I'll give you
right.
something to cry about. You want something to cry about? I'll give you
Yeah.
something to cry about. And then like you said, you have the suppression. So I call it the layer, like you're an onion. And you
Yeah.
you spend a lot of your life putting all these layers because you're suppressing being the good girl. That's what I was, or maybe still am working through it. Good girl, people
Yeah.
pleaser. These layers are
Appeasing.
coming up. right? Yes, you go ahead, I'll wait behind, always putting other people first. Yes,
Well,
right. And then
we're
so
taught women are very socialized to be appeasers. Very
yeah.
so you be the good and I mean I was born in the early 60s. It really was a different well, I mean a lot of us gals that are 50 plus, it was just a kind of a different place to be born and raised.
Hmm.
And you better appease or I'm going to give you something to cry about or and our primal sense, that amygdala that's always searching for trouble, it's thinking if we don't appease, we're going to get kicked out of the tribe and then we're going to die. So, I
Yeah.
mean, so it becomes this really big oh my God, I can't set a boundary because that's not appeasing and I might die. I mean, we're not saying that, but at a cellular level, it's going
No, that's
on.
exactly what's happening. I mean,
Yeah.
it's when and this is the unfortunate thing I find right now is that so many women, A, don't know who they are, B, don't have the time, or don't even know how to start this work. And so we get distracted with food, alcohol, screen time, because it's so unfamiliar and scary to
Yeah.
sit with yourself in silence and actually ask yourself, who am I and what do I need?
It's terrifying. That'll be the ladies I work with, the very first, depending, everyone's different. I'm going to meet them where they're at. But a lot of times, the very first assignment they have is to find 20 minutes and do nothing. And and when we report back next week, it's they needed to crawl out of their skin. They just couldn't do it. If I'm not doing something, I'm not valuable. Oh my God, I can't sit here. The
Yeah.
self-talk. I mean, it's our nervous system is very tied to our self-talk because that's what we will spiral by things we're telling ourselves. we, and we think just because we think it, it's true. And that's not always the case. We can be big fat liars to ourselves at
Oh,
times.
I had a sugar addiction for decades. I did a lot of lying, a lot of suppressing, and a lot of. When I've told this story before, but when I started rolling and working on fascia in my classes, which has to be 15 years ago now, within 2 weeks of, like just a couple times with these classes, I said to everybody, do you feel calmer? And I was in my 40s. I said, I feel calmer. And they're like, I feel calmer. And this is what took me on a trajectory of fascial. And I've never stopped doing fascia work with people. And that is like you, again, this issues in your tissues, your cellular memory. And so many people, again, you have to start always where you are, but they can't even touch themselves. Like I'll have clients say, I can't even touch myself. I'm in so much pain.
Yeah,
And it breaks my heart because it is work, it's effort. Okay, but it's
right.
also work and effort to be in pain and stay stuck. So you really have to make a choice here. We don't have to, but you have the ability to make a choice of do you want to carry on here or do you want to, and with this may come a lot of tears
A lot
and
of
you
tears.
are
Yeah.
cracking open a nut. You are peeling the layers back.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really important when we're working with people to help them understand that this is healing.
Right.
This is
Yeah.
not going to look clean. This might be a little messy, but you're going to get there.
Right. Well, in my as a counselor, licensed professional, I have to do disclosures with my clients before we start therapy, and that's the very first thing we talk about. It's going to get worse before it gets better, and it doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. We're going to celebrate that because then, if things start getting messy and worse, they think, "What am I doing wrong?" And you're
Exactly.
not. You're
No.
doing it right. And
Yes.
abs I notice as we open the sacral area, our hips with women, there's a lot of tears and a lot of trauma that will come forward. And maybe it's not their trauma, maybe it's in their DNA that they're carrying forward from an ancestor. But I'm trained in bioenergetics, and that's very much what we do. It's moving energy through the body, and it's messy. I promise it's messy.
It's messy.
Emotions. Well,
Yeah.
emotions are messy, and they're supposed to be. This this idea we have that everything's clinical and clean, and no, life is messy. The best of life is messy. I mean, think about I mean, we just have to hold space for it and not judge it.
Yeah.
I find a lot of ladies I work with want to go to judgment instead of curiosity. And I
Mhm.
really encourage everyone to first approach with curiosity and kick judgment to the curb.
You are speaking to my former self because when I finally let go of judging myself, and I wrote a book called Cookie Dough in the Dark about my sugar addiction, but I talk about curiosity. And as soon as you flip to curiosity, I'm telling you, lights, they go off. You look at things in a totally different way.
Yeah.
And you stop saying, "What's the matter with me?" And you start asking yourself just different questions. The blame leaves, the guilt, the shame. Not overnight, everybody. Again, this is a process, but you start to awaken to the beautiful being that you are, your spirit, your soul, your energy. But just back to my other point is I find some of these women don't like they're still busy working, they're in the grind, they don't have the time, and I say to them, and I truly believe this, everybody, and it may sound harsh, but if it's important to you, you will find the time and you will find the money,
There
because the
is reason.
people who spend hours looking at their phone
Yep.
where they could be doing something else, and that could be part of the shutdown though, right, Julie? Like they just
Oh, it is.
cannot take a step forward.
I did a podcast recently on how scrolling is actually
Oh,
you might as well be drinking a bottle of rum. I mean,
yeah.
it's the same. Your nervous system is doing the same thing. That's dissociation. You're probably in dorsal vagal state where, I mean, that's the really numb. You're so numb. Well, we talked about that earlier, but you're so numb you can't feel anything. That
Yeah.
dorsal vagal state is a horrible dissociated spot,
So what's
and
the
it's not forever. It's not
no,
forever.
no, and this is the messy part. This is the trust that you, and this is the other thing, is having vision, it's having trust, it's having patience, it's having curiosity. I've gone through all of this because I was like, I can't stay where I am anymore. And so I was like, switch. But
Mhm.
it does take some, and here's the other thing. You are way more educated than I am in this arena. But we all help different people in different ways. And I always say to people, if something's wrong with my car, I don't go on the internet and try and fix my car. I
No,
call the
don't
mechanic
do that.
and say, how much do I need to pay you to fix my car?
Right.
And this is the same with people. Like we are here to help you get unstuck, to move that energy. Movement is the emotion in motion, right? So,
Yeah.
anyway,
But
um,
but what I mean, two quick things. There's even research that backs up what we prioritize happens. And
mhm,
we ladies have been trained not to make ourselves a priority. I'll deal with that later. I'll just deal with that later. And then we get into that dorsal vagal state where we are so dissociated, we can't even fathom taking that step forward. It just feels so big and so heavy. And that's the exact thing you need to do in that state is just reach, just reach for a hand. Because as you said, we are here to help people. Our hands are just there, and it's not going to happen overnight, right? It's a process.
yeah,
Because the last thing we want to do is blow up someone's nervous system. We give them little bitty things at a time. And
yeah,
it takes 60 days um, to even start that new neural pathway to taking hold. And that's what we're doing. We're building some new neural pathways instead of these ruts that we've been in for years.
yes,
Um,
exactly.
so having lots of love and patience for yourself, self-compassion.
Self-compassion. I know I start one lady, she was like down, like really low, 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 like illness, everything going wrong. And she said, I don't think I should start right now. And I said, no, this is exactly when you should start.
Exactly. Because that immunosuppression, I ended up with breast cancer. That
Oh,
immunosuppression is real.
mm,
And you get colds more, you always have a sinus infection, something, or you end up with breast cancer or something.
yeah.
It's
Well,
real.
you know what? I always say everything starts with a whisper. If you don't listen to the whisper, your intuition, your inner knowing, if you keep putting that to the side, it will manifest in a physical way because that gets your attention. And
Absolutely it
then
does.
I have my own views on that, but I think it's again teaching women to come back to this intuition. And what I'm hearing a lot from women is like, is it my voice or is it what I think I should be saying to myself. And we've really lost listening and trusting ourselves.
Well, that's your third eye chakra and
Yeah.
your solar plexus being completely out of the wonky. And absolutely, but absolutely, we've lost that. And if you think about it, and I teach this to my students as I'm training counselors, we have been taught not to trust our emotions or trust ourselves and our parents didn't do this on purpose. Are, you parent out of what you can tolerate, and parents often cannot tolerate, there's one emotion they can tolerate. Don't you go over here to these bad ones. So if we are hurt, if we are upset, we're not taught to trust ourselves. We're taught, you're fine. No,
Yeah.
you're not. You're fine. Quit that crying. And I mean, that happens pretty early for us in life. So, I know we're parented, my grandchildren have been parented very different. They are very in touch with their emotions. But there's a generation where we were not. We were told not to trust our emotions. And then we become grown-ups. And yeah, of course, we don't know. Is that me? Can I trust that? So there's a
Yeah.
lot of work to be done on balancing those chakras and learning to trust yourself again, finding that authentic voice. She's there. She is absolutely there.
Hmm. When you say that, I was going to answer that, but my cord is from here to here. So
Ah,
it's the right side of my heart, left side of my throat, and it used to be lower. It used to be more gut, and
gotcha.
it used to be solid heart, like aching heart. And now I've got this cord right here that is definitely loosening, but yeah, I can feel it when I talk about certain things. And but it's again, don't second guess yourself if you feel something in your body, right? Like I feel this, it's a cord. And
Your body,
so,
it's so wise. It's
yeah.
so wise.
So
Yeah. I,
don't, yeah, we know more than we do, and we have been, there's certain things in our environment that have eroded our intuition. I'll just give you one really interesting example because I just use this. If you have food in the fridge and it has a best before date, I will have friends who say, "Oh, it's 2 days old, I'm going to throw it out." I'm like, "Why?" And they're
yeah.
like, because it's off. And I'm like, well, who says it's off? I'm like, smell it, taste it, look at it. Well, look at it, smell it, and then taste it. And that's your intuition
Yeah.
that you know how, and then you're using your senses. You see what I'm saying? You're using your sense.
Right. Yeah.
People go, it's gone the best before, so I'm throwing it out. And I'm just like, that is such a marketing to me. It's
Uh,
just and it is a subtle way of eroding your intuition. That's
yeah.
just my thoughts, but I'm like, that is at a very basic level. And there's probably a lot of other examples out there, but your intuition is tapping into your senses. So
Right.
are you practicing your senses?
Yeah. I'm also an EMDR therapist, which is eye
Oh,
movement,
yep.
desensitization reprocessing, and internal family systems. I like to use those together. And when we're doing that deep work, because it's all about trauma, I mean, I love it because it doesn't re-traumatize, it gets things out. But dissociation is one of the very first. I mean, I'm really having to watch my client, and when I see them starting to dissociate, the very first thing I do is take them to their senses. Tell me two smells. Tell me three things you hear, things you see. What do you feel? I mean, we have, and I'm also giggling because I'm thinking of Halloween parties when I was little. We'd go, in the garage, and there'd be the spaghetti to touch and the grapes to touch,
Right.
that were. We have really, as we grow up, we lose touch with those senses, and they're
Yeah.
so vital. And they do tie back to your intuition, and they absolutely ground you and help you stay present. And that's an important piece, especially if you're experiencing sympathetic or dorsal vagal state in your nervous system. You've got to get grounded. And
Yeah.
it's right. It's free. What do I smell? What do I feel? It's sometimes I don't know if you remember the book Everything You Need to Know You Learned in Kindergarten. I think there's a
Mm.
lot of truth to that. We I think we make things more difficult than they need to be, not
Yeah.
on purpose. We're just trying to survive and hit the markers that have been set for us. But I think that's what's so fun as I'm now in my 60s, and I still do I have all kinds of things to do, but they're things that I'm not doing because I think I need to do so I can get that promotion, or I think I need to do to make someone happy. They're things I'm doing that make me happy. Yeah, I mean, I feel like a kid in a candy store a lot of times. Like, woo, it's fun. Uh, but the big, heavy expectations that we put on ourselves
Hmm.
have evaporated for me at this point. I mean, there's a couple still hanging out there. I'm not a hypocrite. I run a department at a university. There's a few things, but I don't take them as serious. Like
Right.
we just went through a site visit where we had site visitors telling us how good we were or not, and I didn't used to. I would have been so freaked out. And I would have been down for about 2 weeks. I would have just pushed. And I was like, F it, I'm not doing that to myself this time. We're either
Yeah.
going to pass or we're not. And we did. Things are fine. But you just
Yeah.
approach it different, you know? And just, it's not the
I
end of the
know.
world.
I know. I listen, we could probably spend all day talking because I have like, you can see how some podcasts are so long when you really start to get deep and pull a lot of threads together, right?
Yeah.
Which I think we've actually done a very good job with some of that. I pulled up one of your blogs before we started, and this is something again that maybe has changed now because people are more open. Like my parents were definitely not open, and I don't blame them. That was the time, that was the space, and with each generation, we're more open and able to talk about things. But you talk about the neuroscience of shutdown, and you talk about it in the area of desire, of feeling that because what's that saying that if you put a marble in a jar for all the times you had sex before you got married and then you started to pull them out after you got married, there'd still be some in the jar.
Yeah. You know, the,
And so here's another thing where we think there's something wrong with us. And I
what?
told my husband, actually, I went to my doctor in my late 40s and said, I just don't feel it. I don't feel a thing. And she's like, it's all in your head. Read a book. That's the advice I got.
Uh,
And I was like, no, you know what? And I said to my husband, I said, it's not you. It's not you. I just do not feel like I want to have sex. I just don't. And
yeah.
so I was reading some of your thing and I was like, I'm sure there's a lot of other women, and maybe there's always a spectrum, some
Oh,
people,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I'm like,
No,
I'm sure there's some other women like me that are just like, nope, not feeling it.
yeah. Oh, you're not alone at all means. I just published this book, Are We Going to Have Sex or What? And it's all about this, which is what I said to my husband on our first date 40 years ago. But,
Yeah.
it's the midlife guide to reignite desire, reclaim your body because we have not claimed it in a long time, and live fully alive. But it's all about nervous system regulation. I mean, I built it on my radiance model, but nervous system, as I mentioned earlier, if we are in survival mode, and those of us that are hitting 50, 60, we've been in survival mode for 30 years, living on a terrible cocktail of cortisol and adrenaline. And first, that messes up your dopamine and your dopamine receptors, and sex. A lot of dopamine is tied to our desire and pleasure as well. And so, if those receptors are kind of backwards, and it's not, first ladies, it can, you're not broken. Your
Mm.
body is doing what it's designed to do. It's been protecting you for years and years and helping you get done the things you needed to get done. But by the time we hit middle age, we've been in survival mode way long time. And so, as I said earlier, that frontal cortex, the first thing that's going to go is desire and pleasure because we've told our body we just need to get this done. And so, let's say, and then in long term marriages, which is a beautiful thing, but novelty has kind of gone out the door, and desire likes novelty. Otherwise, it kind of sits back and like smoking a cigarette, going boring. And it likes some novelty, and I don't mean hanging from the chandeliers and trying breaking your neck trying a new position, although new positions are fun, but
Hmm.
novelty in that relationship. Like my husband and I just got back from Spain, which was very fun and a novel experience for us. So those kind of novel experiences are really important to keep in our long-term relationships. And also, ladies, how much obligatory sex have we had?
Hmm.
Like, fine, and you're rolling through your to-do list and you're thinking, God, just get this over. And so we've taught our body a lot of, I'm going to say untrue messages, perhaps around desire and pleasure that we can unteach and we can bring, get that nervous system regulated, get that root chakra balance because your body has to feel safe to allow orgasm to come on, to allow desire to come back online. And and if you think about it, when we're braced all the time, that pelvic floor is one of the first things we brace. So blood flow to your clitoris and all our yummy sex organs, it's cut off some
Hmm.
because we've just been like this and we don't even know it. I'll have ladies go, okay, do this, relax. Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
realize I was bracing like that. And so we have all these things we're trying to get done. A husband or a partner touches us like, and and our nervous system goes, one more effing thing. Are you kidding me?
Hmm.
And we get irritated. So it's really important to learn to get that nervous system regulated. And please hear me as well. Hormones are important. I mean, we've got to be sure that we have a good, wise physician working with us on hormones, but that's not the whole answer. Our nervous
No.
system has got to be regulated and
Hmm.
allow, like assignment I often give ladies at first is to get a beautiful new vibrator. I mean, there's some fun, beautiful vibrators out there, but we're not going to have an orgasm with that. We are not going to the genitals with that. The very first thing we're going to do is run it in places on your body, maybe your inner wrist, inner thighs, ankles. Find where pleasure lives because we have lost touch where it even lives in our body. And that also helps that vagal tone. If, I want them to be, using the vibrator, but I want her to be making voice sounds with her throat with, yeah, I mean, well, it kind of sounds like an orgasm, but when we inhale for 4, exhale for 6 with that tone, that gets your vagus nerve on involved, and that's a very important thing for us to do. A very important thing as we're using this beautiful new vibrator to see what feels what. Oh my God, my tummy feels good. Like I said, I had breast cancer, so I had a I mean, I have new boobs. That's what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say. I did get to keep my nipples. I had a really good surgeon, but where my nipples used to bring a lot of pleasure, it's really different now. So
Mhm.
I want to invite us to hold space that as we age, we don't have that 20-year-old body. Thank God. I mean, my 20-year-old body could pop out of orgasm pretty quick. My 63-year-old body, it takes a little longer. I have to talk to my partner about what I need more. But when I get there, it is a far better orgasm
Mm.
that might come around several times. Um, but that's the other thing I want to invite ladies to think about. How often are you talking to your partner about what you need and desire in a honesty, in a really truthful way? I have a podcast called Sexy After 50 where we really talk about these things, but I have found, and I've done in 30 years, I've done a lot of couples work, a couple of sessions, and I've always been shocked when I ask them about sex and they're both embarrassed, they don't talk about it. And I'm like, okay, that's going to show up in your body. You've got to have those conversations.
Well,
And
the
maybe,
shame, right? There is a thing of shame. Like you have sex to have children,
right, don't
and
you dare enjoy it.
yeah, right. And then but then there's I definitely have like that thread of I just a second. I don't know how to name it, but it's not in alignment with the good girl. It's like a naughty girl. It's promiscuous. It's
Yeah.
like
Oh,
there's
yeah.
negative connotations to
Yeah.
being um open and
Yeah.
free. And
Yeah.
you know, I even talk to some women and I'm like, just put on some music and dance, and they can't even dance.
No,
We are like the movement. And, you know, we go back to a time when we were dancing around the fire and singing. And I just say to people, how often are you dancing and singing like that? That again is just another shut down of this creativeness that we are, the chakra, the third, it's the third one, right? The third is the
yeah.
pleasure. Yeah, I should talk about that in
Second,
the book,
second.
but
Yep.
it's this allowing ourselves to have pleasure
You
on
know,
all things.
absolutely. And every podcast I shut with an activity for a lady to try, or if I'm working with a lady in my office, the very first thing we start is just a small little hip circle, just
Yeah,
that sacral shot, just a little bitty, maybe you don't even feel it, but just let's see if we can't get her back online in any kind of way.
yeah. And there's
And
some that just cannot move.
no,
And they
no.
think
And
it's
and there's
dirty.
shame,
They
like, oh,
think
I
it's
can't move
yeah, dirty,
that way.
shameful. Yeah,
And you can. We're made to move that way.
I know.
Our genitals were gifts. I mean, and as we get older, there's real things that happen. And there's all kinds of products out there now. If the vaginal walls are getting thinner, which happens just like our skin, there's just like we put face cream on, there's vaginal cream, not as a
A
not
lubricant, but as
yeah, thank you.
a puffer
No,
upper.
it's an everyday, yeah, right. It is like, okay, I take care of my face. Let me take care of my vagina. I mean, we have far more products than my grandmother, who was born in 1913, who got
Yeah,
the worst spanking she ever got, she said, was when she asked about the neighbor being pregnant, which must have been about 19, in the 19th, the teens somewhere. But that really tells you that we carry that
yeah,
in our DNA forward with us, the shame that, oh, women. And think, at the turn of the century, women were hospitalized. They put them in a sanitarium for being hysterical.
yeah.
If you were a problematic wife, you're going to the sanitarium. I mean, it just, ah,
You
thank,
know, I always said I'd be vulnerable on this show, but I honestly, I feel what I feel it in my body. And, you know, I've been doing this for years, but I'll go out and I'll touch a tree and I'll forgive like 7 generations back. And I will just be release, I release, I release. And I just read, I can't remember her first name, but she wrote Secret of Bees. And I just finished reading The Invention of Wings, and it was about slavery in the 1800s in Charleston. And I didn't
oh,
know it was a true story when I was reading it. And at the end, she does the footnotes saying that, you know, this is a true story and how she gave license to certain characters. And in that moment, I felt, even as I was reading this book, I felt things inside of me. And I've told this to a few people, but I said, in that moment, I don't know what part I took in the slave trade. I,
oh,
but I felt something in my body and I said, I forgive myself. I
good.
forgive myself.
Yeah.
And to some people that might sound so crazy, but like I've done a lot of work, so I'm very in touch with myself. And I do believe that we have this trauma inside of us. And
Oh, we
my
do.
papa is English and he fought for the British, and he was in shutdown. Like he could have conversations, but he did not open that gate. I see it with my father. Like there
Oh,
is a
yeah.
wall.
Yeah.
And I know just from, and again, this could be, it's whatever you believe in, but I know that when I do the work, it helps to release past and future generations.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
it's what you believe, but I've read enough, seen enough to know
Yeah.
that so I felt really compelled and I felt better. And I can't go back and change that time, but I can forgive for any role that I played in
Right.
whatever
Yeah.
capacity. And then you can let it go. I don't have to sit here and psychoanalyze it. But if
Yeah.
people are feeling, this is again the intuition. If you're feeling that, just allow yourself to be like whatever it is, whether you need to give yourself a hug, go for a walk, love yourself, forgive yourself, something. That's the opposite of suppression. That is like
Right.
releasing. I am in a definite release phase. So, so
That's
I'm getting to
great.
63. I'm going to feel as good as you.
We also use tuning forks to help with that ancestral healing. Um,
Mm.
because there's energies that go with that too on
Yeah,
the
because like you
tonal.
said earlier, you can't think your way out of this, people. Like you cannot think your way out of it. So sound, vibration, somatics, fascia, nature,
Yeah,
coming back to yourself and get, like you said, give yourself the gift of feeling. Oh my gosh, I'm in such a different place. So I'm anyway. It's exciting. This adventure is exciting. I'm so excited. You talk about the three-phase thaw, which you've probably mentioned in here before. Um, does that just apply to the feelings of being sexual, or is it just everything in general with your nervous system?
it's everything in general with your nervous system. If you and be forewarned, I have a gal who's doing some thawing right now. Um, there might be some discomfort
Oh
as
yeah.
that thaw begins. I
Oh yeah.
mean, hers really has manifested because I like to have people do a walking meditation, especially when our nervous system is not to where we can just sit with that frontal cortex. You don't feel like you're gonna crawl out of your skin. But as she was doing that walking, and a walking meditation is just where you really feel your heel, toe as you're walking. There's no right or wrong way ever with no right or wrong. We so want to put rules on shit.
Oh, I
There's no
know.
right or wrong way. But as she was doing this, and she's been working so hard, her feet started feeling like they were on fire. And that her doctor ruled out any kind of a medical something, and even she said that probably something to do with your nervous system. And it's okay. I mean, it's getting less and less. I just want ladies to know that, as you said earlier, it's messy, and as we thought, it may not feel great, but just be curious. Wow, I'm starting to get headaches. I wonder if that's something to do with my thaw. Be excited. It probably is. Always see a doctor and rule out it's something medical,
Yeah.
but it's not unusual at all. As we that thaw state happens, and absolutely it ties to desire because once that we feel safe in our body, that root chakra, which is right by our sacral chakra, where our sexuality lives, once those are balanced, and we've convinced our body this is a safe place to be, so many wonderful things come back online. A sense of feeling, I call it soul joy, a sense of feeling alive. Your
Mhm.
life force increases. Where you thought desire was gone, and here's something, it's an aside, but it's important. Only about 10% of women, 10 to 15% of women ever experience spontaneous desire, where you wake up horny. It's even in your 20s. We are designed to be more of a responsive desire. So just be aware, it's okay. It's how we're designed. We
Yeah.
need to teach our partners to foreplay is important, and it's going to look different for every woman that's listening to this, but it's important for you to know what that looks like for you. But as we get that nervous system regulated and thawed, so many things come back online for us. That
Hmm.
excavation, I call it a homecoming, just a homecoming of like, yeehaw. This this feels good. No, and we're human. There's going to be days. Like I had a day yesterday where I was like, ugh, I don't want to put on mascara. I don't, I'm not
Hmm.
combing my hair. It's allow space for that. It's okay. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean anything is wrong. It means your nervous system is saying, winky, winky, sister, let's have a day. And for me, I like to listen. I've got my phone. I like to listen to an Audible, and there's a coloring app. I love to do that. That's one way that I go, okay, I'm just going to take care of my nervous system. I'm, I want to see women have time where they accomplish nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. Go on a walk without your phone. go sit under a tree and just listen to the leaves. Um,
I always
that's
say to people, go back to 1980. And what did you do in 1980? Okay,
I
you
love
didn't
that.
wake up and look at your phone for like a blue light hit, so you've ruined your circadian rhythm. You've just like wired yourself up. No, you
Yeah.
didn't. You didn't do that, right? And so how can you start to not disregard the current world we live in? But and I always say we're in an evolutionary mismatch right now. So, but how can you bring yourself online enough because like you said, when ladies, when you're relaxing and you think relaxing is scrolling on your phone, it's not. It is not relaxing. It is getting out in nature, going for a walk. That's like to me, that's my personal relaxation, grounding, walking around my pond, looking at water, breathing, laying on the ground, looking at clouds, watching how they change shape, gardening. Like to me it's very connected to nature, and that might not be everybody, but I will pretty much guarantee that it is never looking at a screen.
No, and the nature, you're absolutely right. And actually, there's research that ties us to nature. We are nature. I mean,
Yeah,
it's very important. Even I just had some TV interviews and stuff in New York City, and we just got back, and I live in the middle of 1,000 acres down a 3 mile dirt road. Yeah, I am in the middle of nowhere. And in New York, I was just like, oh, um, but even in New York. I found spots where there were beautiful tulips growing and you could just enjoy, what nature does offer. So, regardless where you might live, try to find a piece of nature you can touch. And the clouds, that used to be a game I played with my kids, and they're in their 40s now, but with my kids, where we would look, that's a dog, with the
yeah,
clouds. And that's a fun game that you can do out of your apartment window in the middle
yeah.
of Brooklyn.
The other thing I did was I take my camera out and I'll take pictures of my fences or tree roots or something. Just don't get caught on your phone doing that, or maybe you have a camera. But it is this return to nature. We are from nature. We need to get back to nature, and it's
Yeah.
so calming. And if you're into vibrational energy at all, the vibration from being out in nature is going to soothe your soul and calm you and ground you more than you can even imagine. It's so healing. It's so precious. I used
Yeah.
to live in New York City, and I mean, they do a good job. There's green space, there's Central Park.
Yeah.
Oh, and to your point, there's beauty everywhere. There is beauty everywhere. It's, what you focus on expands. You can always tap into beauty. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, Julie and I have never spoken before. I feel like we've been friends for 20 years because
Like, yeah, I agree.
yes, and I loved our conversation. You are a wealth of knowledge. You have you know, just so many things. I love it when you bring in different modalities and I'm very holistic in a different way than you. Like I do yoga, but nutrition, mindset work.
Yeah.
And it's and there's a little part of me, I have to admit, when you're like, you're on TV and you're a dean, I'm like, God, Tanya, you suck. Like, what have
Oh
you done?
no.
Honestly. But you
No.
know what? We all like but you feel that sometimes. Like you look up and I'm like, oh my God, I probably need to go back to school and get another degree. And then I'm like, Tanya, no.
No.
No, you do a beautiful job in this world. We're not all the same. We're different. Let your light shine in the way that it shines.
That's right.
But you can
That's
see
right.
comparison is the thief of joy, everybody.
It is terrible. It is that
Terrible.
you're absolutely right. It's
Yeah, so
cancer.
catch yourself. I caught myself and I'm like, no, it's fine. Tanya, you're fine, right? I'm
You're more
releasing.
than
I'm
fine.
thawing.
You're perfectly imperfect, like we're supposed to be. You're
Exactly. Exactly. So, is there any last words you would like to share, and then just where people can find you? And it's just been an absolute pleasure chatting with you.
you are lovely. Thank you so much for having me. I would just say your homecoming is worth the effort.
Mm,
Your homecoming is worth the effort.
mhm.
Yeah.
I have goosebumps with you saying that.
Yeah.
Mm. Oh, beautiful. And where is the best place for people to find you? Just on your website, everything's connected there, which I will put on the show in the show notes.
Yeah, everything's connected there. You can get my books there. I have two podcasts, one on burnout, one on the desire. Both are nervous system regulation.
Okay.
That's my I love that. I wish I'd
Yeah.
known that when my kids were young.
Oh my gosh. So do I. You know, this is a phrase I use now because you can really beat yourself up sometimes going, I wish I knew that. I could have done a better job. And then I'm like, you know what? Do it now. Just
Yeah,
just do it now. You want to spend more time with your kids? Do it now. You want to go dance? Do it now. Like don't keep living in the past. Just do it now.
yeah,
So that's your resentment, right? That is don't spend another 10 years building on resentment.
right.
Do it
Yeah,
now.
no,
Just
life
do it
is
now.
start living it this moment. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, I know we could keep going, everybody, but thank you so much for listening today. Thank you for being in our energy. It was a beautiful conversation. And if it resonated with you, please share it with your friends, family members. You know, the more you get this information out there, I mean, I believe in vibrational energy. I believe that when you drop a rock in a pond and it ripples, that when you share this, it ripples. I have goosebumps and vibration going all through my body again. It changes not just yourself, but your whole way you look at things. So give the gift of sharing this beautiful information with people. Thanks for listening. Thank you, Julie, for joining me, and we'll see you in the next episode.